Oh, it's sounding so good on your Saturday afternoon. Sweet Power, Your Embrace, Diplomats of Soul. How are you doing? You're listening to Diverse FM. My name is Renu Chopra and I'm with you till 2 p.m. today. Now, I want to know, have you ever considered a career in law? Or maybe you know someone who works in law? Or perhaps you're someone who's wanted to venture out and start your own business and doesn't really know where to start. Well, today I've got on the show Bilal Farooq, who is the director of Graystone Solicitors. It is a law firm that runs in Luton. And he set up his practice when he was 30, working full time, and then ventured out to create his own law firm. And we're going to be talking about how he's done that, what he's learned, what it's like to be a lawyer. Maybe it's something that you've considered yourself. And yeah, if you've got any questions that you want to send in to ask him, you can message me on the WhatsApp number, which is 075 68 686863. And also, we are currently live on Mixcloud. All you need to do is head to Mixcloud, www.mixcloud.com/diverse 102.8 FM, where you can watch us as well as listen. All right, we've got some Rudimental on the way, and how about some Flow later on? Let's get into this one. Come over.
Diverse FM, number one for dance and R&B. Celebrating 25 years on air.
Luton's number one radio station.
Diverse.
Diverse FM 102.8.
It's Friday again, then Saturday, Sunday.
We want the weekend.
We love weekends.
We love weekends.
Diverse.
We want the weekend.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to Diverse FM. My name is Renu Chopra and I'm with you till 2 p.m. today, Saturday the 6th of April. How are you doing? In the studio with me, in a moment, we're going to be getting into an interview with Bilal Farooq, who is the director of Graystone Solicitors. We're talking all about law, his journey into his career, and what it looks like behind a law firm. We're getting into that after this track, Flo Milli, Never Lose Me.
Never wanna lose me. Tell me you'll never wanna lose me.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to Diverse FM. In the studio right now with me is Bilal Farooq. And he's a lawyer working in Luton, his own firm, which is Graystone Solicitors. And we're going to be chatting all about his journey into law and behind the scenes of a law firm. So welcome to the studio, Bilal.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. It's been a pleasure.
Good. So, can you tell me about the day-to-day of what it is that you do in a day in the life?
A day in the life is unpredictable. I always say to everyone, every second it could change just like the weather. So one minute you could be caseworking, you could be helping with accounts, marketing, meetings, events. So it's interesting because every day is not the same, and nor is every minute.
So how did you... Take me back to when you decided, right, I want to go into law. This is something I want to do. Like, why? Why did you choose
I've always
law?
been interested in helping people. I think it's important to help people. But more importantly, when people have a legal issue, they don't know what the rights are, where they stand in respect of the inquiry that they have. So I think it's important for people to get access to justice, which is fundamental.
So in terms of Greystones, what is it that you guys do? What do you offer in the community?
So as a law firm, we're multidisciplinary. So we do immigration, family law, personal injury, medical negligence, property law. We also, more importantly, we do free legal clinics. So the legal clinics that we do, we hold every Friday. That's for family law as well as immigration, which again assists clients who just need general advice or guidance. Both of them are every Fridays at our clinic. We're also at the Gurdwara on Cardigan Street on Sundays. So we also provide legal advice there as well as other community centres, religious centres. We also go there, provide free legal advice to the people at their institutions.
Did you have anyone when you were growing up you saw that was doing law or, inspired you to get into it? Or was there anyone around you, or were you involved in a law firm?
I wasn't involved in any law firm, but I think at a young age, my parents were instrumental. They always wanted us to go down a career path. My uncle was also a lawyer. He's also was my influence. But I think as brothers and as sisters and brothers, we've also been very career driven and career minded.
So what was the process then for when you started going to uni and then you set up your own business? Like what was that sort of timeline like for you?
I think it's been a lengthy career path, and along with the fact that law has recently changed the career path into law. So my route was very traditional. So I'd done a law degree at the University of Bedfordshire, along with doing a master's at University of Bedfordshire. I then done a study training contract, which meant I was working as well as studying. I done my LPC at London Metropolitan University, and then I qualified as a lawyer.
So it's quite a lot of studying, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Did you know you were getting yourself in for all of that studying?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be lengthy, but I think with the LPC coming at a cost as well, which puts an extra burden on students.
Financially.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So would you recommend law as a career to people?
If you want to be there giving access to justice to people and you're willing to help people, I think it's the right career path. But you gotta, as I always say, you gotta be in it because of the passion and the love for what you want to do. Because for long term, it'll be your career for the whole of your life. Whether it's medicine, accounts, or law, you want to do whatever career path you do because you love it and you got the passion for it.
There's so many different parts to law, though, isn't it? Like you said, what you offer with Graystones, it's employment law, you do criminal law. There's so much. Like when you're going into it as a career or setting up the business, how do you start in terms of what you're delivering service-wise and yourself? Is it driven by what you're passionate about doing? Like how does that work?
So how it usually works is once you're going through your training contract, usually the training contract was always 3 seats, which they recommend you to do. So you would have 3 areas of practice, i.e. you could do family law, immigration, and you do property law. And then you could choose afterwards what area of practice suits you. Generally speaking, you predominantly practice in one area or sometimes a crossover of 2. So you're specialist within that rather than covering a broad range of areas.
Okay, so then what about when you started the practice that you showed me earlier? You found a premises and how you then transformed that in 6 months. Like, what was that like when you set up your business at 30, right?
Yeah, I set up at the age of 30. It's hard work. So I was working 2 jobs, one as a consultancy, one as a full-time job, as well as doing Graystone's work. But that was well in the midnight. A lot of planning, financial strains, a lot of hard work, dedication goes into it because every day is a different day. You'll get a lot of hurdles. Once you're starting up, you got to do premises, licenses, insurances. So it's hard work and there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes.
So you're working a full-time job and consulting as well on the side?
Correct, yeah.
And you were then trying to set up
Graystone Solicitors.
Was there any point during that you were thinking, I don't know if I can do this?
Yeah, a lot of times, especially when you're well past midnight and you're carrying on going and you're thinking there's no end to this. When is it going to stop? So I think perseverance is the key. You got to keep thriving and keep going and never give up.
Graystone, I love the name because I feel like it's such a blueprint name. You can't, before I was saying to you, how did you think of that? I wouldn't even... Graystone, like what would you put those together? Like how did you build the brand of Graystone?
I've always wanted to build a brand rather than build a personal entity. Building a brand, it gives a bigger context of what you're doing. So there were a few names that were in my mind. Again, brand names that I wanted to do. So Stone came into my mind after my original one that I wanted to do, I couldn't do. And then I put different colors together and grey it was. And then the design company that we had did an amazing logo. So it's like a cube. So the cube actually spells out GNS.
Oh, yeah. Now I can kind of see that. And then since you've, with the business, won loads of awards, you've been featured in The Telegraph and loads of other newspapers. How is that feeling of being recognised for something that you started whilst you were working a full-time job. You must be really proud of yourself.
It's a proud moment, along with the fact that it kind of recognizes your hard work, along with the achievements. But the achievements that we get as a business, I always say, I've got to be grateful to all the employees and the staff that we have, as without them, we wouldn't have Graystone Solicitors, along with the fact that where we are today, it's a recognition for all of their hard work as well as mine.
So you mentioned your team there, which is like a big thing, I guess, when you're starting a business. It's not just going into it on your own. You're then having to recruit people and think about other people. So what were the biggest unexpected lessons that you learned from setting up Graystones?
I think one of the biggest lessons was when I opened Graystone Solicitors in 2019, couple of months, COVID came about. I was like, sugar, I've left my job, I've left consultancy, I've opened up, and we've got to shut again. So we had to change the business model at that moment in time from an employee model to a consultancy model as well. So we run 2 models within our law firm. So that was a big help to get us over the COVID period. And then as the business goes on, sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes you make bad decisions, but I think it should always be as a learning curve and should help you to make sure that you don't make the wrong mistake again.
You know what it is when I think about lawyers is sometimes you don't know what it is that goes into what they do. Like, for example, I mentioned when I went through the process of buying my property, then there's loads of paperwork, there's loads of stuff that I'm told that they do, and then you give loads of money. I think, what is it they're actually doing? So what is kind of the skills that you put into what you do, and what is sort of behind the scenes of the practice?
So I thought that insofar as the legal side is concerned, it's for example, if you do property, it's a transaction, i.e. you do the legal work in order for the person or your client that you're dealing with, in order for them to get into the house effectively, or effectively help them sell the house. But I think when we were discussing earlier, it's as a firm, what we're trying to do is social media wise, this year we're looking into doing educational videos. Education videos are fundamental because it gives clients or general public the basic idea of what they're actually doing and the reasons behind, because sometimes clients don't know and it's not their fault. As lawyers, it's for us to educate them so they know this is what we're doing and the reasons why we're doing it.
I feel like that is crucial in helping people understand what it is, the partnership, because it's like a partnership, right? You and the client, you're working on the same thing together, whether that is a relationship or that is a property. You're trying to almost guide them through what they're doing. But a big part of it is understanding. And we're not going to know. I mean, you've done all of this training, all of this kind of university training and LPCs and all of this. How is anyone else to understand the books that you've written to get to where you are, So, yeah. So what is that going to look like, do you think, in terms of the videos and the educational work that
so what we want to do is like, for example, immigration, there's vast different kind of applications. For example, someone wants to bring a visitor over, or someone wants to bring or you got a spouse visa. So what we want to do is educate the public of what the criteria is and what documents or information they need in order to make their case strong as possible, or that's what they need before they could contemplate doing what they need to do. And for example, in a property, for example, the searches that you do or when you exchange, what is that and how long does it take, time frames and so forth, which gives them the idea of what it is about.
Bilal there, we're just going to get into a track and then come straight back. If you've got any questions that you want to share and ask about law, business, you can message the WhatsApp number. It's 075 68 68 68 63. Tyler there, Afro House remix of Water. You're listening to Diverse FM. My name is Renu Chopra, with you till 2 p.m. today. And we are carrying on the interview with Bilal Farooq, all about his career into law, about Graystone Solicitors and their work in the community. So welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
So what we were just chatting about a minute ago was so interesting, and it's around how people might approach the problems that they would take to a lawyer, go to a law firm, but actually you going to spaces where people feel more comfortable to talk, going into gurdwaras, going into community centres. Can you talk me through why it is that you do that as Greystones and what community work it is that you provide to Luton?
I think it's important as a law firm to give back to the community. Again, I was mentioning earlier, I've been born in Luton, raised in Luton. I've done most of my education in Luton. I think it's important to give back to the community where you've been all your life. For us as a law firm, when we set out, it's important to put the community at the heart of what we do and give back insofar as we can. So going back to the community work I was mentioning, we do a lot of work with community centres, with religious centres and other centres in order to give them free advice, which includes family law, such as if someone needs divorce, separation, child contact arrangements, with immigration, spouse visas, EU, visitor visas, asylum. So what we do is we go to those institutions, we give advice which is free of charge, so we don't charge them. It helps the centres because when they get inquiries, they don't know where to send their members. Furthermore, it allows the centre to have the accessibility to a legal law firm and they have the right qualified lawyers to give their members advice. So it helps them out, and moreover, it helps the actual person who's seeking legal advice because they're getting it for free, they're getting it for an expert, and more importantly, they feel safe because they're getting an environment that they're actually used to, which is either the community centre or the religious centre where they go most often.
And it's cutting down that barrier, isn't it, for people? Because finding a lawyer, working with a lawyer is expensive. So if that opportunity and that access is given to people who probably need it just as much as anyone else, but perhaps don't have the financial backing.
Yeah. I think as I always say, we give the initial advice for free, and I think the initial advice is what is the core, because again that allows them to know where they stand legally. If someone is getting a child contact arrangement or divorce, then they know what the rights are, what the process is, if they do start a divorce or what the process will involve. So it gives them the basic education and where they stand and the costs and ramifications and the duration, so they'll be more equipped if they are to go down that route, where they stand, and then they could go ahead. So I think its initial advice is always fundamental in any area of practice, and we always do this, whether it's during working hours or whether it's outside of working hours. So some of the advice that we give are on weekends or in the evenings, again giving back to the community out of our time.
And then you also deliver talks in schools and education and employment talks. So what about those? What do you do there?
I think it's important to give back, again, what we were mentioning. So I do a lot of career talks in universities, colleges, along with employability events. So they include, for example, the employability events will include role plays of interviews, CV writing, along with covering letters, tips of interviews. So they're really fundamental and preparing them for the next stages of their journey. Same when I go into schools to give career talks or when I do mentoring, I help the candidates in their legal journey, guidance of the legal journey, what it is and what it entails.
It's crazy when you think how you were in that position only 5 years ago. You were in those shoes trying to figure out what to do next. You know, what do you think when you look back on sort of the progress that you've made?
I think it's important to always stay grounded and never forget where you come from and the journey that you've taken, and that should always make you stronger. But I think it's a great journey that I've been on, along with the staff again at Graystone Solicitors, which I'd always thank, that have helped us to grow where we were. Originally when we started, it's only a PI department, we've got an immigration department, we've got now a family department, we've got a property department. So we've kind of grown and developed quite significantly within the last 5 years as a law firm, the areas of practice that we do and the work that we do within the community.
What's your hopes with sort of expanding what you're doing within the community and your work within Greystones?
Going forward, I think what we want to do is grow our legal advice clinics that we do with other institutions across Bedfordshire. So we predominantly focus mainly within Luton, but we want to broaden that along. And then the other thing that we're probably looking for is, depending on the growth of the business, is new premises. Because when we started, we only had one block within the premises. We've now got 3 blocks. And I think time is probably going to come, depending on the growth of the business, where we'll need new premises. So we'll probably need to look for something bigger.
Where is the premises? Where can people come
So
to?
Graystone Solicitors is based on Dunstable Road, so 275 Unit 3, Dunstable Road. It's near Mini Tesco's Express.
And do you tend to get people coming in to the clinics and coming into the shop front, or what?
Yeah, so it's on the high street. It's sometimes on a Friday, it's like a doctor's surgery.
Really?
We actually have a lot of clients that come in to get legal advice. And I think, again, giving them and seeing them satisfied, it's rewarding, because they sometimes come in very stressed. They don't know what their rights are, where they stand. And then when they leave, they have a sigh of relief. It's rewarding.
What are sort of you seeing the most common trends as to what people are coming to the firm for?
Yeah, it's slightly different. Like, as in, for example, if it's immigration, they've asylum work, or if it's spouse work, or if it's family law, children matters, or family could be divorce as well. So it's a wide range of disciplines within the actual areas of practice.
I wonder, you've worked in London, and then obviously your practice in Luton. Do you see differences in terms of the law and what obviously London's a lot bigger, but working in Luton, and it's quite a community facing.
Correct. So I think Luton is very tight-knit community, which is great. Everyone gets along with everyone, and people want to help each other. Whereas London, it's quite vast, it's quite broad, so it's slightly different.
Yeah, you find people walking through the doors probably coming with different situations.
Correct, yeah.
So what advice would you give for anyone looking for a career in law, and perhaps even thinking, maybe one day I want to start my own practice?
I think for students, the career path of becoming a lawyer has changed, because they've now developed an SQE route, which includes 2 exams, and then you got the qualifying work experience, and know your route. And once you set your route, have a time plan. Or I always say to people, have little milestone achievements, because that helps you on your journey. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that. So you got your little achievements, but along the way you'll have hurdles, you'll have some things that don't go how you want them, but keep thriving and keep going, never give up.
And so you celebrated, was it the 5th anniversary?
Yeah,
last
we
year?
did. Earlier this year.
Early this
Yeah,
year?
we did, yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So what's the next 5 years, you think?
The next 5 years is, if we keep growing the way we are, the plan is to get new premises.
Yeah.
If the premises do go ahead as planned, then we'll look to move out to the new premises next year. And I think what we want to do is grow a few more disciplines within the practice, such as commercial, corporate law, along with, as I've said, do more community work, based work.
Well, you're proof that, if you wanna do it and you feel passionate about law, then you can absolutely go and do it. And if you have the urge to set up your own practice and, fight, even in the situation you were in, under lockdown, working a full-time job, actually thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this. And even a premises that we saw the photos before we came on air, and it was a dumping ground, really, and how you've transformed it into a functionable office with lots of employees now. It's
been hard work, a lot of personal sacrifices, and I'm hoping that kind of changes going forward, spending more time with the family. But at this moment in time, the drive is Graystone Solicitors.
There we go, Graystone Solicitors. And you can find Graystones, as a reminder,
at 275 Dunstable Road. Our telephone number is 01582 343453, or you can visit us our website www.graystonesolicitors.co.uk.
Bilal, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.